Our neighborhood looked like it was carved out of a real estate brochure. Manicured lawns, perfect mailboxes, and people pretending to like each other just enough to stay off the HOA's radar. But behind the forced smiles and Pinterest fences ruled one woman, Karen Monroe, the self-appointed queen of suburban dictatorship. She wasn't just the HOA president, she was the HOA's god, the kind of woman who'd measure your grass with a ruler and file a complaint if it was too optimistic. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. Karen's latest act of tyranny came in the form of what she called the Emergency Access Protocol. Each homeowner was required to hand over a spare key to their garage for safety reasons. She claimed it was to help in case of fire, flood, or medical incidents. Yeah, sure. I didn't want to fight, so I reluctantly gave mine in. But deep down, I knew Karen's idea of an emergency probably meant running out of Chardonnay. Fast forward 2 weeks, I get home from work, hit my garage remote, and the door slides open to reveal her car, parked dead center, a shiny white Lexus with her personalized plates, KRN rules. For a solid minute, I just stood there blinking, half expecting Ashton Kutcher to jump out yelling, "You've been punked." Nope, it was real. Karen's car was in my garage, sitting there like a smug metal reminder that power corrupts, especially when given to someone who alphabetizes her spice rack. My confusion quickly turned into full-blown fury. I stormed to her house, banged on her door, and she opened it with that tight smile people wear when they think they're untouchable. "Oh, that," she chirped. "I had guests, and your garage was empty. The HOA allows temporary use during social events." I nearly choked. "Karen, that's my property, not a valet lot." She just waved her hand, saying, "Don't overreact. It's all in the community's best interest." That's when I realized Karen didn't just want control. She wanted dominion. Before we dive in deeply, let us know in the comments what country or which city you're watching this story from. We'd love to know how far this story travels. The next morning, I walked straight up to Karen's door, ready to reclaim my sanity in my garage. She opened it already smirking like she'd been rehearsing her lines in the mirror. "Back again?" she asked, sipping coffee from a mug that said Number 1 HOA President. I didn't even bother with pleasantries. "Move your car out of my garage, Karen. Now." Her eyebrows arched with pure entitlement. "Actually," she said, dragging out the word like she was delivering a royal decree, "I have the right to use any property key submitted under HOA regulation. It's standard procedure." I was stunned. "You're not using it, you're abusing it," I snapped. "If that car isn't gone by tonight, I'm calling my lawyer." She let out a sharp laugh. "Oh, please. You can try, but the HOA will back me up. I'm just following the rules, my rules." She closed the door in my face, leaving me standing there with enough anger to melt asphalt. That evening, I returned from work exhausted, praying maybe reason had won. But when I hit the garage button, my blood pressure nearly rocketed into orbit. Now there were two cars, her Lexus and her silver BMW, both parked so tightly I couldn't even fit a bike in. My own car sat helplessly in the driveway, baking in the sun like a punished pet. I marched over again, fists clenched, but this time Karen was ready. "You're trespassing," she said before I could speak. And according to HOA code, obstructing authorized parking can result in a fine. My jaw dropped. She flipped through her clipboard like a cop issuing tickets. Non-compliance fee, $250 per day. That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with a neighbor. I was dealing with a dictator in yoga pants. She stood there grinning, enjoying every ounce of control. My blood boiled, but I forced a smile. "You know what, Karen? Keep the space. You've earned it." She tilted her head suspiciously, sensing something in my tone. But by then, it was already too late. The wheels of karma were in motion, and this time I was the one driving. Karen thought she'd won. She strutted around the neighborhood like a queen guarding her conquered territory, waving to passing cars, bragging about how she handled another complaint. Meanwhile, her two luxury cars sat proudly in my garage like trophies from a suburban war. But what Karen didn't know was that I had a business trip coming up, a 2-week overseas project I couldn't postpone. And that's when it hit me. If she wanted my garage so badly, she could have it, permanently. So the next morning, while Karen was off somewhere hosting her midweek HOA brunch, I made my move. I called my locksmith buddy, who owed me a favor, and within an hour, my garage had brand new tamper-proof locks. I even added reinforced latches and a metal bar across the door for good measure. When the job was done, I stood there admiring my handiwork. Karen's Lexus and BMW were trapped inside tighter than her Botoxed forehead. I took pictures, dozens of them, showing her cars cozy in their new metal prison. Then I composed the most satisfying email of my life. Open quote, "Dear HOA, since President Karen seems to have mistaken my garage for public property, I've taken the liberty of ensuring her vehicles are safe and secure. I'll be traveling overseas for the next few weeks. Any concerns can be addressed when I return." Close quote. I hit send, tossed my phone into airplane mode, and headed straight for the airport. By the time my flight landed in London, my email had apparently detonated back home. I woke up to 30 missed calls, 15 voicemails, and one text that just said, "You will regret this," all in caps. Karen had officially lost it. Neighbors later told me she was seen pacing around my driveway, screaming into her phone like a deranged auctioneer. She even tried to pry open the door, failing miserably until, out of sheer rage, she called a handyman to break the locks, an act so illegal it practically gift wrapped her downfall for me. Karen thought she was unstoppable, but she just crossed the one line that even the HOA couldn't defend. When I got back home, jet lagged but grinning like a man who just pulled off the ultimate heist, the neighborhood was buzzing. People waved at me differently now, half amused, half terrified, like they'd just seen a legend return. My driveway still had faint tire marks from where Karen had paced like a madwoman. But the real masterpiece? My garage door. Busted clean open, locks snapped, hinges bent, paint chipped. A perfect crime scene of Karen's arrogance. I pulled out my phone and opened the hidden camera app I'd installed right before my trip. The footage loaded like a Hollywood trailer. There she was, Karen Monroe, in full suburban meltdown, red-faced, sweating, kicking my door, screaming, "This is my right," while her handyman nervously asked, "Ma'am, are you sure this is legal?" She had no answer, just pure fury. She broke every lock, shoved the door open, and stormed in, yelling about community entitlement. I couldn't have scripted it better. I walked straight into the police station the next morning with a flash drive, the video, her messages, and the HOA rulebook she'd twisted. The officer watched for 30 seconds before whistling low. "Oh, she's cooked," he said. Within days, officers showed up at her door. The whole neighborhood watched as the mighty HOA queen got handcuffed on her porch, shouting about misunderstandings, while her precious KRN rules plate stared back at her. But I wasn't done. I sued her for trespassing, property damage, and misuse of authority. And I won. Every single claim. The judge even called her actions a textbook case of power abuse. Karen lost her position, her reputation, and a big, fat chunk of her savings. She moved out quietly 2 months later, leaving behind a broken sign that still read, "HOA President." Now, every time I open my garage and see those replaced locks gleaming in the sun, I can't help but smile. Karen wanted control. She ended up losing everything. Sometimes the best revenge doesn't come with shouting or violence. Sometimes it's just a well-timed lock and a plane ticket. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.